Bonjour, listeners. Welcome to Katelyn Boynes' podcast, and today we'll be talking about American identity and me and my family members' opinion on American identities. So, enjoy. When I was younger, and I can say still to this day, my dad would always tell me about my family's multicultural DNA and how we're from all around the world, and I never actually understood what he meant by that. I always thought he was exaggerating. So when I found out we were doing a project based on the question, how does one's cultural experiences shape their identity and status as an American, I took this project and got to learn a little bit about my family's cultural experiences and how that shaped their status and opinion on America. Since my family is a mixture of cultures, it's kind of hard to say which side of perspective they're on. So my main argument would be that being mixed in America allows one to see the different perspectives that cultures have on their American identity, which can also lead to them having an unbiased opinion about America and their American status as well. In history class, there were a few texts that struck me, just because they related to me and my topic so much. The first text that I really dived into was an excerpt from The Idea of America by Nicole Hannah-Jones, who is a black female journalist who is mainly known for her coverage of civil rights in America. And as for the origin of the text, it was published August 14, 2019, and it was a part of the New York Times Magazine 1619 Project, which was a way to re-examine the legacy of slavery in America. So in this text, Nicole talks about how growing up, her dad, being a black male, always had the American flag bright in front of their house. Like when you drove by their house, that was the first thing that everyone saw. And she was very confused and kind of embarrassed to why his dad, knowing that African Americans have been through slavery and all the oppression and discrimination we've been through, why he was so patriotic towards this nation. And a quote that really got to me was when she said, "I have been taught in school through cultural osmosis that the flag wasn't really ours, that our history as a people began with enslavement, and that we contributed little to this great nation." And when I first read that, like, you can see on my annotation, well, you can't, but basically on my annotation, I was like, wait a second, that's literally not true. Like, slaves did so much for this nation and helping it grow and be what it is today. Then I realized how this tied into my thesis, because her being a student learning about her own race, and whether the teacher was African American or from another race, the teacher was telling her that black people didn't do much for America and that they didn't really contribute to the American nation. That was her cultural experience, and that shaped her American identity and how she felt about America. So that's probably why she was against and kind of embarrassed about her dad. The next text is a speech, and the name of it is "The Meaning of July 4th for the Negro," and it was said July 5th, 1852 by Frederick Douglass. In this speech, Frederick Douglass talks about 4th of July, but it's in the perspective of a slave since he once was one. So one quote that really got me was when he said, "I hear the mournful wails of millions whose chains, heavy and grievous yesterday, are today rendered for more intolerable by jubilee shouts that reach them." This quote was super supportive because it showed how Frederick Douglass's cultural experiences as being an African American slave shaped his perspective and point of view about America's independence, and whether he feels that his status is higher or lower because of how he was treated as a slave. And then last but not least, the final text that I'll be using is called "We the People in the United States." And it talks about the Declaration of Independence in the U.S. Constitution and how it starts with "We the People of the United States." But as you further go on, "We the people" only means white American males. And there's a good quote in here that says, "Native Americans and blacks belong to a distinct and inferior races." and therefore should be denied full citizenship. This ties to my thesis because based on your cultural experiences in America, it kind of pushes you to one side of this topic. So if you're a Native American and a Black, you're more going to be against this opinion or law that they call justified. Or if you were a white American who has been treated more supportive, and as a citizen in America, you're going to kind of be with this law, or you're just going to have a biased opinion either way because of the cultural experiences you've had in America and the way you've been treated and the way other people look at you. If you were listening to the other text, you're probably thinking, wait, all of the text showed how people were being very biased, and that didn't really go with my argument. Well, that was the trick. I picked 3 arguments that showed people being biased. So when I show my interview, you would see how being mixed in America changes someone's opinion and leads them to be more unbiased because they see different cultural experiences. Everyone in the text that I talked about only experienced one cultural experience or side, while as my grandma, who's a mixed American, has 2 perspectives. Hi Grandma, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great today, thank you.
All right, so we know that you are a mixed American.
Yes, I am.
What do you mix with?
From Nigeria, some from London area in England, and some from Scotland. So we have family all around the world.
Okay. What are some other cultural experiences that defined your identity today?
Well, I know growing up I did enjoy always tasting all the different foods from all the cultures since my grandmother on my mother's side, she loved making all kinds of American Indian dishes, and my grandmother on my father's side, she also had a mix of American Indian, and she would mix her culture with the South where she grew up, so there was a whole other taste treat for us growing up to experience all of those things and all of the stories that we were told of coming here and how they were so happy to finally get to the United States and to finally be called American.
Grandma, would you like to elaborate how you felt about being mixed in America?
Well, I did feel that I kind of had a best of both worlds in a way, and that I had all the cool stuff of being Black, and then but I still felt that I could understand other races also, since I was mixed, so I could kind of see more than one point of view, and I was able to enjoy other forms of the arts, like country music. A lot of people were saying, how can you love country music? But I just love it so.
So you're saying that being mixed allowed you to experience different cultures?
Right.
Like you didn't have limits?
Right, that's true.
Okay, that's good, that's good. Is there anything else you would like to tell me about the family history, about your experiences in America?
I do think that America is moving forward, and there are more opportunities, and there are more chances.
Okay, well, thanks, Grandma. After interviewing my grandma and getting her point of view on sides about America, I learned that even though my grandma was a light-skinned mixed American, she felt like that didn't change her status from other African Americans who were darker or just fully African American. She felt that everyone who was either one race, for example, everyone who was Black was treated the same, or everyone who was Hispanic was treated the same, and everyone who was Asian or Japanese were treated the same. She didn't see a difference just because of the color of the skin. Also, I learned that over time, as she got older, she realized that her American identity and status has improved and changed over the time, because she felt when she was younger, she knew that she had full citizenship, but it wasn't always portrayed and respected as it is today. Finally, I learned that even though my grandma was an African American female, and that's what she mainly identified as, she still was a very patriotic American, and she supports America and their topics, and she feels that they're very inclusive, even though she knows what happened and like she knows about the slavery and the history of America. She was able to see both point of views. Well, not even both, like multiple point of views, because she was raised in a very Native American culture, also a very white culture mixed in with the African American culture. So she was able to see everyone's perspectives and use that into her own mindset. So she never was really on one side because of that. In conclusion, I realized to have an unbiased opinion about your American status or identity, you have to be surrounded by different cultural experiences and not just hang around and be filled with one cultural experiences, because you get to see the other points of views and perspectives and sides to the other races.